Welkom aan het Move-publiek. We hebben net de film Arica gezien van Lars Edman en Johansson Kalén. We zullen nu een Q&A hebben met de twee regisseurs. Zij spreken tot ons vanuit Zweden. En het Q&A zal uiteraard in het Engels plaatsvinden. Welcome Lars and William. We just saw your film Arica. And before we delve into the questions, first of all, I would like to ask you, and not to be insensitive, but because we are aware of the pandemic, and I'm kind of knowing of the situation in Sweden, but I'm not that familiar with the situation in Chile, and more specifically, the region of Arica, which is in the north. And I just wondered if you could tell us about how the people are doing now. Is there also a lockdown there? Are they okay? Maybe I would like to just start with that.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. So the situation the situation in Chile is quite bad right now. They are in lockdown, and in this specific area, in this region, Cerro Junio and Los Industriales, where the toxic waste are and where they have affected the people, they are a very vulnerable community because they already have a lot of diseases, and also they have a lot of respiratory problems, problems with the lungs and the things that makes them even more vulnerable for the COVID pandemic. So it is a big problem in the area. And we are also, there are some, at this moment, they have also started a special project in this area because it is a poor community. People are working day to day. So that is also a problem. A lot of people ends up without income. But there is a project now where they have this big kitchen, where they make a lot of food and people can come and take the food back home and eat without being close to anybody, and just pay for the cost to make the food. So it's very price efficient. So people are struggling now, not only with the toxic waste but also with the situation with the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you and your story with Arica, it goes way back, more than 15 years, I think. But also the story between you two, because if I'm correct, you guys met in film school, right? And this is actually how you started working together because of the subject of the toxic waste in Arica. Could you expand a bit more on that?
Yeah, that's correct. Hi, we actually we're from the same town in Sweden, Skellefteå, and have common friends, know each other, but we actually didn't meet until we applied and went to this film school in Valparaiso in Chile in 2004. So we met on the plane and maybe kind of recognized each other in some way. And from there we started working together. And it was quite natural for us to join and team up for this project. It was actually our teacher at that course at the school who told us about did you hear about what happened up in Arica with Boliden's waste? And we had heard about it, but it was already by then old news.
Yes, because Boliden is also near the area where you are from, Lars. I don't know if it's also the case for you, William. So you were aware of this story, but and then the first film that you made, because Arica serves kind of as a sequel to the first project, your graduation project, if I'm not mistaken, Toxic Playground, which you invested many years in, and that's where everything started happening. And was that also where there was Was it your project that sort of served as an awareness also in Boliden and in Sweden about what is actually happening? Or were people always aware, but they did not really care? Or was it really an awakening in some sort?
I think it was rather an awakening, actually, because like I said, we were aware of the problem when we went to Chile in 2004, but that was like from hearing it in the news in '98, around 2000. So it was already old news. So it could happen that some people were aware, but to the big public, it was Toxic Playground that actually brought it up on the agenda again.
And also, after Toxic Playground came out, it was a lot of fuss and discussion, and we showed it in the parliament, and the politicians went out, and we thought that something would happen after that, so that the people in Arica would get some kind of help, and that Boliden were going to do something, maybe take some kind of responsibility. But then things got quiet, and we were a little bit like, okay, so this was it. Nothing more happened. Is this the end of the road for the people in Arica and for this story? This was in 2010, around when the discussion went calm. The film went out in 2009. But then in 2011, we got a phone call from Louis Gordon, who is one of the lawyers, and he had seen the film Toxic Playground, and said that, you know what, it is really difficult, but it is possible to test this legally, to take Boliden to court. And we got the opportunity to follow this from the inside.
Yes, and that's what we see in Arica. I think the frame of the film is about like some 9 years or more, like until I think 2017, 2019. And you really captured a beautiful insight for us about how the people of Arica are dealing with this and with the courts, and a lot of emotions come up. And I was wondering how it was on the other side for the people of Boliden, because somewhere in the film, Lars, you get accused of it was always your intention from the beginning to put the company in a bad light. But then you say like, no, I know the importance of this industry for the people, and because the mining company has been there for decades, right? It was first gold and then other metals. So
almost 100 years now, actually.
Sorry?
I think it's soon to be 100 years, maybe some years more.
Yes, yes. So generations of people have kind of benefited from it, and now 2021. I don't know. Are you aware? Has that perception kind of changed for the people in Boliden? How are they dealing with this?
Neither me or William actually lives in this region anymore. So, but we go back from time to time. But we're really eager to go back now. But there are some restrictions to screen the film and to talk with people about the perception. Also after watching the film, because we don't really know how people have experienced this trial. The court case, and what they've kind of learned from the news, or what kind of image they have from it. So we're really looking forward to screen the film and see if that might maybe turn some heads, change some opinions, stir a bit. Yeah, I think maybe I would say that people on a general basis, even back home, feel that Boliden in some way should take on some kind of responsibility. At least that's the impression that we got when we screened Toxic Playground in the area. We had its premiere in the theater in Skellefteå, and there were lots of old, like retired people from Boliden attending in the audience, also current employees. and I think the sentiment was that it's not maybe that important if we're legally obliged or not, but I mean, we have the money, we have the knowledge, so why not act in some way to help these people?
And also, what's happening right now, and why we're also very eager to come up and to show and to have this discussion, is that Boliden, with their information manager, who is also in the film, Claes Nilsson, they take every opportunity they can to say that, but look, we won the trial. We didn't do anything wrong in Arica. There's no health problems in Arica. There's no, they're trying to get that history out and to sell that to people. And for somebody who is following the news, they might get that impression. But as you can see in the film, the toxic waste, it was there from 85 up until, I mean, it's still there. So the people in the trial, it's only 800 persons, but it's thousands of persons that are affected from this. The Chilean authorities, they want to evacuate around 8,000 people. So, and that is now. I mean, a snapshot from now. It's been there for decades. So it is really important to get the full story out and to to show this film so that people can make their own mind of what they think about the responsibility and how the legal system works.
Yes, because it's really a two-way connection, right? It's not that this is something that is happening to Arica. It is something that is happening from a country like Sweden. And I think for me personally, that was a bit of the biggest shock, and I'm a bit embarrassed of it. But because I found the term toxic colonialism, which I think was coined by Greenpeace activists. And for me, the shock was in realizing that this can happen in a Scandinavian country, like from a Scandinavian country, because I was always under the impression of all the first world countries, the Scandinavian ones are the most democratic ones and the green ones and environmentally conscious. And what you guys have done with Arica is sort of shake that perception. Is that also kind of the feedback that you got? Like, if you want to put it in a larger frame, if we are talking about colonialism and more specifically like toxic waste colonialism?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, this is part of a big problem. Nowadays, it's not only toxic waste from the mining industry. You get it from e-waste, from all the electronic stuff that we have. You have plastic. You have a lot of the garbage from richer countries that ends up in poorer countries and make people sick. So I definitely think that you should see the film in this perspective and to look at it as a whole. And I mean, at this time also, we need so many metals if we are going to fulfill the Paris Agreement and with all the problems that mankind is in front of at the moment. We will need all these metals, and it comes with a big risk, both when you take them out of the ground, but also when you what to do with the waste that will come from any process. So it's really difficult really important to look at this with those eyes. And when it comes to the image of Sweden, I think you're absolutely correct that is the image that Sweden wants to present and that we want to have of ourselves. And there are a lot of good forces in Sweden as well. But it's really important that people don't hide behind that. I mean, we need to look at, I mean, for example, Greta is from Sweden, going around doing really great stuff, and but then you have companies like Boliden who, without any problem, sends their toxic waste to a poor community, and they don't have any. They haven't showed any intention to trying to help the people that have been affected by this.
Yes, and of course, this being aware of this bigger frame is one thing. Doing research about it is one thing, but then making a film is another thing. And you guys went there. You went to Arica, and you kind of that is the perception I have of the film. You really were allowed access to that community, and I can imagine it's maybe also because you both were in Chile, you both are fluent in Spanish. Lars, you also have this history with Chile. You were born there, you have your DNA is from there, but again, like, you weren't just two guys randomly from Sweden going there, like telling the people, like, give us access to your personal spaces. Could you tell us more about that process? I imagine it must have taken a lot of time and energy. And
yeah, I mean, and that's probably the clue, the time, and the fact that we were able to start this project as film students, more or less, without really any time pressure, or like we could spend months in Arica the first year during film school. And I think that really built a very strong foundation for us, to be seen just walking around the streets with cameras. People after a while really recognized us, and then we came back, and then we came back, and then we came back, and so on and so on. I mean, it's been a 15-year project, and I think we've been, I don't know how many times we've been in Arica, but probably more than in Sweden before. So yeah, and I think that really gave the people the confidence in us. People can trust us because they know that we come back, but we also been very, very clear about what we're doing. We're filmmakers. We had some very tough situations, meeting with people outside a healthcare center, people desperate in need of medications, you know, and asking us how we can help, which is really heartbreaking. And then, because the only thing you can say that we can't offer any financial support, what we can do is make this film. We can ask for your testimonies, and we can tell your story to the world, to Sweden, to anyone who wants to see it, and from there hope that something good can come out of it.
yes, because in the film, William, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, and I mean, just a short to add to that, because it is really important what Lars is saying, and I mean, we have a lot of friends in this area, and of course we want to help them get a better situation, and the film ends in a very sad note, but it also ends with some kind of, you know, you can see that the struggle is continuing. People are still fighting. They continue to live in this. They don't have any. They have to. I mean, they don't have any choice. And if somebody wants to follow what's happening now, there is this web page, toxicjustice.org, where you can go in and you can see the latest what's happening, and different possibilities to help the people, or, you know, to be part of the different projects. Toxicjustice.org, and also we have a Facebook page for the film, where we're also it's called Arica, a toxic waste scandal, where there also will be news and things around the film and what is happening now and with the people struggling in Arica. For example, I mean, the waste is still there, and Rodrigo is saying in the end of the film that this should be shipped back to Sweden. It should be stored in that safe room that has been made 300 meters underneath the factory, where Lars and Rodrigo is standing in the film and pointing, you know, this is, it should be, there's where it should be. That would be a safe place for it. So that is one process that is ongoing now, and there's other stuff happening all the time. So if somebody wants to be part of this movement of trying to help the people in Arica and to join in, that's a possibility.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, exactly. I think Arica is not only the portrait of a scandal or even a portrait of a city, it's really portrait of people, and you guys really succeeded in that. Like we have Rodrigo, we have Jocelyn, we even have Rolf Svetsberg, Johan Oberg, Lewis Gordon, all these people that I write down the names and I want to know more of. And I think there really lies the power of your film in. But I can imagine it also takes a personal toll on you guys, because it's not just a film. This is already the second film in a much larger project. And do you see somewhere on the line a third film taking place? How is this project, like, apart from the activism that is in the websites and the Facebook, but as filmmakers, how do you see this project developing?
I mean, after Toxic Playground, we didn't know that this film was going to happen. So we are very close to this all the time. We are in contact with people. We will have a meeting with Rodrigo actually later after this talk. We're in telephone with him every week, talking about the situation now and what's happening. So we are following this very closely, and you never know. Maybe 15 years from now there will be a third one.
Maybe, but I think because I kind of looked up the information of the film, and I somewhere found that even to make Toxic Playground was not that easy. You did not have many people that believed in the project from the beginning. But then you did find, I think it was Leica film that you then found, but also there are a lot of partners. Also, and maybe that's interesting for the MOVE public to know, there are also Belgian partners, the partners all over Europe. And do you think, is this something common in a film that deals with this subject? Like, what are some of the aspects of getting this film actually made? And the difficulties you got along the way, like how do people approach this project? Like, oh, do you want to do this?
I think the possibility for us to have this international partners have been fantastic, because it also helps us to look at this with international eyes, so that it becomes part of a story of global toxic colonialism, and you know that it's not only a specific story for Sweden and Chile, and that it's part of something bigger. And we have gotten so really great support from our Belgian partners at Clin d'œil. It's been fantastic. When it comes to when we started with this film, it was like people were saying to us, but that's been the news. I mean, it's been reported, and that's an old story. So it took some time for us in order to get it up on the people's agenda, and to get them to know that it was a story worth telling, and that, you know, the big story was not told yet. But yeah, these kind of films they are big. It's a long process. It's quite difficult. It is tricky to get financing. It is, but that road also contributes to a lot of good input as well that you can use and that makes the film good in the end, I think.
Yeah, because Arica has just been released 2020, and it already was screened in ITFA, but I don't know how the film is doing now. What's the journey of the film? Because you are now in the middle of the release and the promotion, right? Do you already are starting to get some feedbacks? Because I didn't find many interviews. Like I looked up some of the press documents, but the film is for now, I think, just being screened a lot. But are there also conversations starting to happen there? How do you perceive it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of interest, and like you say, it's been screened at a couple of festivals, and there's big interest, so it will be many more as well. And yeah, I think this will be a long conversation. I mean, actually, for Toxic Playground, we even like 5 years after we went out and had screenings and interviews about it. So yeah, I think the discussions have just started.
Thank you so much for you answering all my questions. For a final question is, yeah, so you are now in the middle of Arica, and you, as you also mentioned, like you are still in straight contact with the people there. Do you think, is there something that they want to say apart from what we already see in the film? Because you are right, it's not about, because the case that has been presented to the court of law is from Arica Victims KB, which is like a sort of 800 people that are in the case, but the number is larger. And I would like to present to you this opportunity of maybe giving even a more clearer message from the people of Arica, is like, because this is just so much more than just a film. This is sort of like an outreach to the international community as well. And you guys maybe are, apart from filmmakers, also kind of representatives, at least for our parts here in Europe. And maybe to conclude this Q&A, is there something that you would know that the people of Arica would also specifically reach out to the viewers of the film, and some words that they would have for us watching at home this film that is about their lives?
I mean, something that always comes up is that people, they are so, how can this happen? How can people treat other people like this? We are humans. That's something many people have said. You know, it is not respectful to send your waste to other persons that can't take care of it and don't really care about the consequences. And yeah, like I said, for sure their struggle will continue because they continue living in this, and the waste is still there, even if it's a little bit better place now. It's covered with some plastic and some sand. Up until 1998, it was totally open and nobody really knew what it was, so the kids were playing in it. But even if it's covered with some sand and some plastic, it's not safe where it is. And it's also due to the climate change, it started to rain more in Arica. So now people are worried that will continue to increase, the rain will increase. So, and that you will have a new catastrophe with the rain coming onto the waste and going into the water. So I think the message from the people in Arica is that people should care and try to do what they can to support the struggle that is ongoing there.
And also after watching the film, because I know people have said to us in some forums that they really appreciate having someone believing in them, believing their stories, their experiences, because these people have been questioned from day one from Chilean authorities, like bullied, and it's a vulnerable community that hasn't really been taken seriously for a long time. So I think for people to reach out, maybe after watching the film, either through toxicjustice.org or through Facebook, and just say, I watched the film. If this is what you feel, we believe in you and we support you, and maybe you can do something to support the community.
Thank you both so much. And I hope that is indeed the thing that the viewers will take with them, to take some time, reconsider what has happened, what they just saw, and then maybe tomorrow it's a new day for everyone. I sincerely hope that as well. And I wish you both really good fortune, good luck in your endeavors in the ongoing project of the Arica side, but also other projects. And I hope you all are safe during these times that we are in, and you continue to be healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting us. I love it. Take part in this.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody who watched the film at the festival.